Hello and welcome to episode 21 of No Time to Cry. We're your hosts. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Laura.
And today's episode is all about Mother's Day. A little bit about it from Laura's perspective, obviously, with losing her mum and what that looks like. And I think we've touched on that a little bit when we've done celebrations, but we wanted to dedicate a bit of an episode to talk about Mother's Day, but also just some inspirational women in our lives and people that we find inspiring. Which definitely helps with, I think Mother's Day is not always just about mums. It's about anybody that's sort of a mother figure to you, whether that be a really close friend or family member, or even somebody that you kind of relate to online or something like that. But yeah, happy Mother's Day if you're listening.
Happy Mother's Day. Yeah. I suppose where to start. So it's the second, no, is it the third
Be a
actually now? My
third.
third. Yeah, my third Mother's Day without mum. And I feel like I'm finding it more difficult this year. I don't know why that is just yet. I'm trying to sort of figure it out because I don't think there's anything specific that I can call out as to why.
Yeah.
Unless it is the time that's passed, I feel sort of further away from her in some ways. So yeah, when I've been to the shops this time round, to supermarkets and to restaurants that have got all the signs out saying, oh, buy a treat for the woman that always treats you and book to celebrate your mum on Mother's Day, it just hurts a lot more this time round. And I think a big part of that also is just the fact that I now have two daughters myself. And even just a couple of nights ago, actually, I was watching Els, my youngest, and I just got really tearful because it just dawned on me that mum's never met her and will never meet
Mm,
her. And I always thought, we'd be celebrating Mother's Day as, three generations basically. My gran, my mum, my girls, and me. Or is that
mm.
four generations?
4.
Four, yeah. Um, yeah, and it's just the fact that obviously I can't make those memories with mum and I can't celebrate her. I think that's what hurts the most actually sometimes is that she gave so much, she sacrificed so much for me and my brother and my sister, and I'd love nothing more now than to sort of repay her for that. And she'd never
Mm,
have asked for that, but because she just wasn't that type of person. But
yeah.
I'd probably only say over the last few years, I've been in a financial position where I could do all of the really nice things to help her out, and to treat her and to support her, I guess. And every time that I could, I did get her treats and bought her things and took her to places and we shared experiences
Your mum,
together. But
your mum didn't really value that. Not that she was like ungrateful, she wasn't, but she much more valued like your
your
time.
time. She did. Like that's what she always said to me. And I think I've mentioned it before on my first Mother's Day, when I was pregnant, actually. So Sienna wasn't here just yet. My mum actually made the day all about me. She cooked for me.
Mm,
She got me some little like confectionery and chocolates and candles and stuff, and like a little Mother's Day like bundle basically. And I think just her seeing how I responded and reacted to that is what gave her joy. She was just
yeah.
so happy to see that she put a smile on someone else's face, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's been really hard this year, and I do think it probably is more the case that because more time has passed, I just feel it more
Mm,
deeply, I suppose. And also, your first Mother's Day, I think people reach out to you
mm,
as the second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. pass, I don't think people necessarily check in as often or as
yeah.
frequently because I think they just think, oh, well, time has passed now and hopefully Laura's learning to heal. And, you know, healing doesn't mean that the loss is any less difficult to kind of cope with, but you can control how you feel a little bit more is the only way that I kind of perceive that. I don't think I find it any easier. And as I've said before, there are times when I've more recently found it harder than ever. And I think the other side of it is, and this is the way that I sometimes think about it, is that I think more people choose not to ask now or choose not to wish me a happy Mother's Day because they're worried that it would upset me. Um,
Mm,
but in my head, and I suppose this is a way of thinking about it, if people don't talk about Mother's Day to me, that makes me feel like I never had a mum,
Yeah.
if you know what I
No, yeah,
mean.
I understand that.
Because yes, I'm
I
a motherless
understand that.
mother now, but she still was very much a huge part of my life. The reason that I exist, she's a big part of me. And I think the mother-daughter relationship is so primal,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's just that
Yeah.
you are literally a part of your mum is a big part of you, and vice versa. I always think that's so incredible, but heartbreaking that if you lose a baby, for example, their cells are part of your body forever. I just think
Yeah.
that's incredible, just even from like a biological point of view, and yeah, and I that's also, I guess, why I say when I lost mum, a part of me went with her because she was a huge part of who I am today and how I've become the
Yeah.
woman that I am. And yeah, I just wish there were ways that now I could give back to her. And like you say, Shan, she would have never have wanted it. But I think in my head, I just wish I had the opportunity. That's all,
Yeah.
to share
And
more
what
experiences. And
what do
yeah,
you normally do on Mother's Day? Because obviously you've got kids, so I just wonder if that varies from like people who have lost their mum that maybe don't have their own children
yeah.
to like yourself. How do you find sort of like coping with people wanting to celebrate you on Mother's Day
Oh, I
as
find it
well?
find it really difficult because I think, and I know I shouldn't, and my husband always says this to me, doesn't he? Todd always says, your mum would want you to celebrate
She would.
you, and she would want other people to feel like they can be themselves and to enjoy the day and to be the mum that they are versus worrying that she isn't here, because that's just again how my mum was. But I find it really, really challenging and just a really difficult concept to wrap my head around. Like, how can I celebrate being a mum when my mum isn't here?
Mm.
It's
You're
it,
still a mum.
I know, but I just find, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that maybe I haven't really processed really that she's not here, because there's still times when I pretend she is on the days
Mm.
that I find it the hardest. Because sometimes that's the only way to survive it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm trying to get past it a little bit in the respect of, so when it was Mother's Day, when Mum was here, we'd always go to one of her favourite restaurants, or there was a cafe that she loved as well, um, which was like a farm cafe. It's one of her favourite places, and they'd always do like a nice little set Mother's Day meal, like gorgeous home cooked food. So we used to go there, and I go there all the time actually now, just for breakfast and just to think about, oh, me and mum sat here and mum sat over
Aw.
there, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we did when mum was here. And like I say, I carry on that tradition in other ways now. But on the last couple of Mother's Days, I went to my mum's favourite restaurant, which is where we often go to celebrate her birthday. And that was lovely, but it also felt a bit, I don't know. I couldn't really celebrate or feel fully happy about the day because she wasn't there. It's
Yeah.
very,
And there's a fine balance between doing those sort of things and whether they feel like helpful to you or not.
yeah.
Because I don't know if sometimes, like you said, Law, it reminds you more of the fact. Sometimes it makes you feel that you're closer, and then sometimes it makes you feel more
It's like
like
a
it's
bigger
more
reminder that
apparent
she's
that
not
they're not
there.
there.
Yeah, definitely. But I did really, I enjoyed the day as much as I could on the previous two Mother's Days, but it's just still doesn't quite sit right with me. I'm hoping one day, like, I'll be able to sort of separate the two and still be able to celebrate mum for being, the incredible mother that she was to me, and also try and accept that it is okay for me to also be able to acknowledge that, I've got two girls that will, well, especially as they get older, will want to
Yeah.
do things to celebrate me too. But yeah, it's just, for the time being, I think I'm just happy with accepting that I'm not in the mood to celebrate, and that's okay. And I think
Yeah.
if anybody's in that headspace this year, maybe it's your first Mother's Day without your mum, that is
Yeah.
incredibly difficult, and you're still trying to
Oh,
process
yeah.
it, aren't you?
I think the other thing I wanted to mention, like, is something that I go through on Father's Day, but I can imagine for some people it's similar. So, like, if you're, um, your partner is like celebrating their Mother's Day, but you've lost your mum, I think that is another like area that's difficult, is because I find it obviously on Father's Day, I want to celebrate Jamie, but it's also a very hard day for
Yeah, of
me.
course, yeah.
So I imagine there's a few people out there that are like maybe mourning like the loss of their mum. That doesn't mean they've passed away. It might be that actually you don't speak to them anymore, or
Yeah.
for whatever reason, like your relationships come to, um, in a position where you're not talking, but then you want to celebrate other people that are mothers that deserve to be celebrated, but at the same time, it's quite painful. So that's,
It doesn't feel natural. I think that's the way that I sort of position it, in that I know, like, logically, it makes sense that you should try and celebrate it.
mm,
Fully get that, and I know my mum would be cursing me, she'd be like, "Look, come
yeah,
on, get a grip.
should be fuming.
Enjoy yourself, like, make sure that you take the day to do nothing really,
Yeah.
to have the
Feel
girls."
whatever you want to feel, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. But I know she'd be saying, "It's your day to put your feet up, it's your day to be treated," and all that kind of stuff. So in my head, I do try and still think about her voice saying that,
Yeah.
and that sort of gets me through. And yeah, I think there will come a point where I get to a place where I say, no, it's okay for the two of those things to
Yeah.
happen, and to coexist. But I
You're
also
just not
think
there yet.
no, and I just wanted to say to any of the listeners who were on your first, third, seventh, 17th
Mm.
Mother's Day without your mother, there are going to be some that are way harder than others, and there isn't always like a specific reason why that happens either.
No.
Um, because I was speaking to a friend actually the other day about this, and I was saying I remember on the first Mother's Day with that mum, actually, it was awful. But then the other side of me was thinking, how do people survive this? Like, how do people live the rest of their lives without their mum?
Mm.
Because it's just the pain that you feel is just indescribable.
Do you think this one's harder though, because maybe some of those initial other emotions like shock and those sort of things have settled down? So now
Hmm.
what's left is maybe just like the like missing
Yeah,
sadness and
yeah, I think you're probably right on that, because initially there are so many different factors to consider, aren't there? There's so much going on in your head in terms of just processing the grief, the trauma of sudden loss. And as more time goes on, you kind of in a position where part of you has to accept they're not here,
yeah.
because otherwise, you wouldn't get out of bed
Yeah.
um most days. So it's just very bittersweet, and it's just, even the happy days are sort of tarnished with sadness. And it's like there's like they're tainted grey, aren't they? Because
Mm.
no happy memory. It sounds, dead sad to say this, doesn't it? But it's true. Any happy memory that I had prior to losing my mum was genuinely happy.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything else that overshadowed it. But now I'm in a position where, and I'm sure you're the same, Shan, with your dad, like, even the happiest moments in your life aren't how they would have been
Yeah.
prior to the loss of your parent.
Because there's always that little bit of you that goes, oh, I
Yeah,
want to
you
tell
wanna
them or
share
I
it with
want to be
them.
there with them. Yeah.
Because obviously, what do you do on Mother's Day? I imagine most people that, are on good terms with their mother, of course. I know that it's very complex, Mother's Day, for anyone who maybe isn't speaking to their mother, doesn't have a great relationship with them. I understand that completely as well. But if you are in a position where you have that relationship with them, you ring them first thing.
Yeah.
You wish them happy Mother's Day. You're going to say, I'm going to see you at X time to
Yeah.
take you for a meal, to look after you, to get you some flowers, to thank you for everything that you've done. And yeah, it's so hard.
Mm.
It really, really is. And I feel for anybody that's going through it. So
The last 2 years, and it will be like a continued thing that I do, is I always send you flowers on Mother's
you
Day.
do, yeah.
And I do that for two reasons. One, because I think you're a great mother, and I think that you should be celebrated for that. But the other reason is that I know that that day is hard for you and things like that. And you're like me, I don't put, and your mum didn't like flowers, I know that, but we quite like
No, she did when
flowers.
she was alive. She
Yeah,
just
but
said when she's not here, she didn't want them to go to
yeah, go to
waste.
waste. But like for me, I always feel like there's a lot of sentiment in like flowers and picking specific flowers that, like I know Laura's favorite flowers are peony. So if it's that time of year, I'll always try and get her a bunch of flowers that's got like a peony in it or whatever it is. And it's just my way of saying Happy Mother's Day. You're fucking great mum. You put so much hard work in, like you care about your kids endlessly, which, should be the case, not always, but that should be a given. But you do a lot, and everything that you do is led by the kids and how you can be there for them, how you can support them. It is a hard day for you, and that's just my little like I'm thinking of
It
you.
means the world as well, actually, that to me, because you know I'm a flower person, as you
Yeah.
are, like you said. And it's the sentimentality of it, isn't it? It's just like knowing that I don't know, it's so lovely. Like it makes me a bit emotional actually. Just because yeah, sorry, I'm gonna cry. Oh,
No, that's the whole point of doing this though. Take your time. But this is the
it's
whole
hard.
whole thing, guys. Like also I do think it does there's a lot going on for you at the moment, like outside things that we
Yeah.
wouldn't like right now can't talk about on the podcast, but things of work and all stuff like that, which maybe we'll talk about at a different time.
Yeah.
And I think that you've got loads going on. It's normally your mum's someone that you would lean on in those difficult
Oh god, yeah, she'd be the first person. Yeah.
difficult times. So I think that makes it a little bit harder. I think that's probably playing into why you're missing her a lot at the moment as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's like friends and family and those that are around people at these kind of significant dates and times of year is just to try and make that effort to show people that you care about them and you're there because listen, Laura knows that I'm here anyway, but for me, it's just those little things that go,
They go a really long way.
yeah, don't forget, I'm thinking about you.
Because I do think as more time passes, people do check in less. That's natural. It's really sad that it happens, but it's just the
Yeah.
nature of life,
And I
isn't
get
it?
it. People
So,
also
of
have loads of shit going on in their own
course.
lives, right? So we're not saying that you've got to kind of think about it all the time and be thinking about, oh God, Laura's mum's dead, or God, Shannon's dad's dead, or whatever the situation is. But I know this is like I've spoken about it many times now how busy my brain is. I note these kind of specific things in a diary on my phone as well
Yeah.
because I think that it's really important for me to feel like I'm being there for people around me on those good days as well as the hard days. So, do I have certain dates that I know are prominent to Laura in my diary, whether they be good or bad? Yeah, I do, because I know that I'm not always someone that's like, I need reminding of things sometimes. My brain is like one of those, if it's not written down and it's not there, I will like
It's not
sometimes it could
happening, yeah.
pass me
You're so busy
by.
though. That's the other thing. And there's no there's no bad blood or anything if somebody doesn't reach out to me, for example, on
No.
Mother's Day or like key days and key events, because I understand and appreciate people have all sorts going on. But I think the one thing that I would say is if Mother's Day does come up in conversation, or
Yeah.
if you're, I don't know, somewhere where you can see that Mother's Day is kind of plastered everywhere, which restaurants, supermarkets,
Supermarkets.
everywhere right now, that is very much the case. I just think it's important to just talk about it and just not to pretend
Yeah.
that,
That it's not happening.
yeah, because the reality is the day's going to come whether I like it or not. And
Mm.
I do think, even though it does make me upset, it's nicer to know that people still remember that I had a mum,
Yeah.
because that's more hurtful to think, oh well. And I understand why people don't ask, because again,
Yeah.
like I say, I know people don't want you to get upset or emotional, but I'm still going to be thinking about her and celebrating her regardless.
Yeah.
So
Especially on those days, you can't really not
no, yeah, it's
think
all.
about it. Like it would be weird if she didn't come into your head on a day
I
where
wouldn't be
the
here.
whole entire country is
So
literally talking about, and for some people, it might not be their mum, it might be their grandma that they think about on Mother's Day. Maybe
yeah,
you've lost your grandma or
sister, best
sister.
friend,
Yeah,
it could be
like
anyone, like the mother figure in
any
your
like
life, like you say.
prominent like female figures in your life. I think they play like such a big part in like who we are as people. Like I know for me, even like my nan and stuff like that, see her as another mother figure in my life. I did with my
100%.
great nan.
Yeah.
Literally would have called her like a second or third mum to me, because I think women do that. We
It
like
was a
women.
village back then. It's not now. I think that's a
Yeah,
big hot topic right now, isn't it? I've seen
yeah,
it everywhere, but you're right. My gran brought me up with
yeah,
my mum, so
yeah,
my
and
gran
that's it,
Mary.
isn't it? So it's like it's trying to just remember all of those people and like find the ways of celebrating them that works for you.
Yeah.
And that might be that actually on that particular day you're just kind of sat with it. Like I don't necessarily, I've said before, like on Father's Day and stuff like that, I don't tend to do anything specific like about my dad. I do something maybe that just makes me feel a little bit better, so that when I'm thinking about him, I'm doing it in a way that feels like good for me.
Yeah.
And the same goes, like I said, if there's anybody that is wanting to celebrate a mother figure in their life when they've lost their mum or their nan or whatever, that is difficult, and give yourself some grace with that, because I think it's sort of like you have to put some of your emotions aside to be able to be celebrate and be there for someone, but there's a bit of pain in it because you know that you would normally be celebrating two people on that day and now it's only one. Or, and listen, that's not to say that you can't celebrate them, because that's sort of like what we're talking about, but that's just, obviously you can go and do a number of things to celebrate that person that's no longer in your life if you wish to. But it's just, what's your preference? Some people will find that painful, some people won't. Some people will want to go and visit. I know you visited your mum last week, didn't you?
Yeah,
In
there's
terms of
no
like her resting place, there's no right way of handling it. It's just like what feels good for you.
yeah, there's not a universal handbook that works for this kind of stuff. Like
No.
everybody's trying to
Yeah.
just figure out what works
And also like
to get
let's
you through. So
the other part is like, I know that there's a couple of listeners that have lost babies.
yeah.
And I'm sure Mother's Day is a particularly hard time of year for you if you've lost a child, no matter what age, whether they're a baby or they've been older, and that person that would maybe be celebrating you is not there, but you're still a mum. Like, don't let that take away. You can still be celebrated because you're still a mum, regardless of
100%.
whether your
Yeah.
child is still with us or not. Um, yeah, I can't even begin to imagine like how difficult these particular occasions are. And if you haven't lost your mom or you haven't lost anyone, or you know, just be mindful of that. I think there's so many people out there that find this particular time of year
Really
so
difficult.
so difficult.
Especially because there are 2 Mother's Days,
There's
which I
American
always
one as
find bizarre.
well.
Yeah,
It's
because
in
you
the
see it
summer, isn't it?
once. May, I think. I wanna say it's
I
March
thought it was
typically.
August. Might be wrong.
No, I'm sure it's May.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just I always remember it's just after.
Yeah.
Because I have quite a lot of American friends, and obviously they post, and I'm like, "Oh gosh, it's back
It's a
again."
double
Like a double
whammy.
whammy. I'm like, "Oh god, I thought I got past this." But yeah, definitely, Shan. Like, it's not just about mums, is it? It's
No.
all about the people that shape who you are. It's all about anyone who's played a key part in your life to develop who you are
Yeah.
ultimately and how you've become the person that you are. So it can even be like teachers or mentors
Yeah.
or
I've got
um
loads of inspirational women in my life that I think about regularly, like that I think obviously are still with me, so I can celebrate them. But
yeah,
there's just a lot of my close friends are inspirational women. Like they do like amazing things all the time. And I just try to celebrate them in different ways. And also, I think this time of year, like we were talking about before, sorry to just flip back to a different subject, but there's also people that like have tried for babies, not been able to have children and those kind of things. It is just a really hard time of year.
yeah, for so many reasons. Like I always think I can't even begin to comprehend how heartbreaking that must be if you are trying to conceive and you can't as well,
Yeah.
because that's the other side of it. It's the
Yeah.
flip side of the coin, isn't it? That it's
You'd do anything to
equally
celebrate
awful,
Mother's Day.
yeah, to
Yeah.
lose your mum, but then to never be a mum potentially. The
Yeah.
idea of that concept is soul destroying. And that's where the kindness has to come in, doesn't it? And giving yourself that permission to feel what you want to feel ultimately.
Yeah.
Um, and celebrating what you feel is right for you and not putting pressure on it
Yeah.
is the other thing. Yes, it's like my mum used to say to me about Christmas Day. You know, Christmas Day can be a really awful day for people, but
Yeah.
it's one day. That's what mum always used to
Yeah.
say to me. She said, you know, if there are times when you don't want to celebrate it or you're not feeling comfortable with the festivities that surround specific times, don't force yourself into it. Just see
No.
what happens, see what feels like right for you, and it will make the day so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. And
So,
I do think people are more aware now. I always see on like Mother's Day and stuff now, like Happy Mother's Day to the mums. If you do hear a little baby noises in the background, it is actually Ellery. It's Laura's
it's
daughter.
Els.
Um, you know that you see things being posted on Instagram now, don't you? Like Happy Mother's Day to the mothers, the mothers that have lost children, the ones that chose not to have kids, the ones that haven't been able to conceive, the
Yeah, the
stepmoms,
complicated
the
relationships,
complicated
all of that.
relationships,
Because it's
and
all encompassing, isn't it? It
yeah,
isn't just about being a mum. Like there are people who have non-blood related mums that are, are
yeah,
just as
step
much, if
like
not a bigger part of
yeah. You
them.
think a lot of stepmoms for people are considered like as much their mum as somebody else. Like,
Yeah,
it
definitely.
and it, listen, for me, obviously, I'm a stepmom. Vaughn's still got very much got his mum in his life. He's very lucky to have like loads of family around him, like from both sides. But it is sometimes like a weird dynamic as well, like as a stepmom, like trying
Mm,
to work out like, oh, okay, well, he's obviously wants to see his own mum on Mother's Day. And as he's getting older now, like he does do some lovely things for me. And it's like all the little like sentimental stuff that he does now he's a bit
yeah.
older. But I do think there is some stepmoms out there as well that maybe they don't have as good a relationship as I do with their stepchild, or
You don't want to
maybe
overstep the mark either, do
no,
you? I
it's
suppose
it's
because
a
a lot of people
very
say that.
very sort of like, obviously me and Joan have been together 10 years now, so I've worked those grounds out. But they're definitely in those early days for me, it was really difficult, if I'm being completely honest. Like I found it hard. And bearing in mind I was young as well. I was
You don't
only
want to overstep the mark. You want to make sure you're still being there and that you're putting
yeah,
yourself
when I'm
forward. But
me and Jamie got together when I was 18. So I didn't meet Vaughan actually until I moved up. So
mm,
it was a year after me and Jamie had been together. So I think I was 19, maybe just turning 20 when I met Vaughan. So that's very young. I didn't have like any other friends of mine that were like stepmoms at the time or anything like that. So it really was difficult for me. I enjoyed it, but there was definitely times like over the years where it has been hard to just work out what's right for me to get involved in and what's not, because he didn't have an absent mother. So it's
yeah,
not like there
yeah.
was a gap for me to fill, which, actually I think is the better scenario, is that you can then kind of pick what relationship that you want with that child, because there's not a gap missing that they need filling in. Um, and me and Vaughan have always had a really, really good
You
relationship from the
have,
minute
yeah.
I've met him. It's been gorgeous to have him like in my life for the last sort of 9 years. Um, but that's not without its difficulties when you're trying to, because naturally, if you spend a lot of time in someone's life, you've got opinions on things, but you think, oh, can I have an opinion on that? Can I not? Can I get
Mm.
involved with that? Can I not? And it's just like, really, it's just trial and error is the only way I can
It's
describe it.
boundaries again, isn't it? Like we've
Boundaries and
discussed
like
on.
good communication between like you and your partner, what they're comfortable getting involved in, what they're not.
But
And
you've
I
got to be
think that was,
conscious of his mum's feelings as well.
yeah,
That's the other side of it, isn't
100%. And
it?
I always
But
was, that has been a journey for all of us, like even for Jamie and him trying to like introduce that in. And obviously as kids get older, you've got to take their feelings
different
consideration.
parenting styles is a really big part of that
Yeah.
as well, isn't it? I
And
suppose.
I try not to, if I'm being completely honest, when Vaughan is in my care, obviously that is, I will have certain rules in the house, me and Jamie do, and all those sort of things. Um, but I try not to get too involved with like I suppose, like, any discipline or anything like that, because I do just feel like, for me personally, that works better coming from his mum and his dad. Like, obviously, if he's in my
Mm.
house and he was misbehaving, I would tell him off, but he's a very well-behaved kid, so I've never really
Yeah, you're
had
quite
to.
fortunate on that front, yeah.
But it's difficult, and I think sometimes people can overstep those boundaries. I'm a child that has come from step parents, like, across the years, and there was definitely, like, stepmums in my like, with my dad and stuff like that, who I despised.
Mm.
And that's when I was, like, 10, 11, like, going through those years. So it is really difficult, and, like, credit where credit's due to all the stepmoms out there as well, because I think sometimes, like, people don't talk about that as much. And it is the best thing I have ever done in my life, is bring have the sort of, I don't know how to describe it, just like the benefits from having that child and choosing that child to be in my life. And I remember Vaughan got me at Christmas. Oh my God, it literally can make me cry thinking about it. But he bought me this little key ring and saying, like, can't remember the exact words, but along the lines like, "You choose to love me, like, you're
Aw.
like, thank you for being my stepmom, and thanks for choosing to love me every day. Like, you didn't have to I didn't have to do that because you weren't my mum, but you chose to
Yeah, because
be."
a mum has, well, should in theory have like unconditional love, whereas
Yeah.
a stepmom, it's a little bit more
Yeah, and I
nuanced,
literally,
isn't it?
like, that I love Vaughan, like, as if he's my own
You do.
son, like,
Mm.
unconditional love for him, whatsoever. But there's a lot of stepmoms out there that will have that love for her children, and then their relationships come to an end, and then that
And
means
you
that
don't
they're
always see that, especially if you were to
no.
have, I mean, if you and Jamie did decide one day that you wanted to have children, there's always that concern, I think,
Yeah.
because
No, but I was talking about the other side, like, touch wood, hopefully it's never the case. But say, for instance, Jamie and I split up,
ah, right,
like,
yeah,
then my relationship with Vaughan potentially comes to an end
to an
as
end, yeah,
well. So that's like, you're grieving your relationship ending, but then also the child that you've brought up as your
definitely,
own, but you have
definitely,
no rights over.
yeah, yeah, that's
That is a
huge.
huge space. I'd love to hear from people if anyone's gone through that. I can only kind of, like, talk about the idea of it and how upsetting that would be to me, but I can imagine there is so many women and men out there, or anybody that's been involved with children, that have brought a child up, and then for whatever reason other relationships have ended, which means that they no longer have that child in their life.
Yeah,
Oh, breaks my heart. It would break my heart to think about it. But yeah, I think there's so much that you can talk about on Mother's Day, but I just wanted to do a couple of minutes at the end just to kind of talk about some of the, like, inspirational women, like, in our lives, because
definitely.
naturally your mum is always going to be one of those women to you,
Yeah, for so
for
many
so
different
many different
reasons. Yeah,
reasons,
and I see it live on now actually, which I think is really comforting and quite special because it would have done anyway. But now that she isn't here, you kind of look for it in more
yeah,
places, I suppose. And I just see it in terms of um how my husband deals with certain things, and he'll say, "Oh, your mum told me about
yeah,
that, or she taught me through how to navigate this." And yeah, it's mind blowing that you can see
such an
the after
impact.
effects and impacts on people that you love because of your own mum. So you think, oh,
Yeah,
well, it wasn't just me that she did a really great job of, well, I like to think,
yeah.
of bringing me up. But I couldn't have asked for more from her. I genuinely couldn't. She was my safe place, and not
Mm,
not all children have that.
yeah,
Um, to confide in and stuff. And she went through some really difficult times herself, but she was always there, and she'd always make sure that she prioritized her kids and anyone that was around her really. And I see it through my sister-in-law and my brother and sister, of course, as well. So yeah, of course, mum's definitely way at the top of the pecking order for that. But then my gran is just incredible as well. I'm so lucky to have
love
Gran
Grandma
Mary.
Mary.
Shout out to you, Granian. She's quite hilarious though, she's so direct, isn't she, as
I love
well?
her.
If there was
She's
one
my cup of
time
tea.
I dyed my hair a more sort of orangey colour,
No,
and
it wasn't orange. What was it? Paprika.
paprika, she was like, "Oh, I'm not a fan of that." I think you need to go a bit back dark. You need to be a bit darker with the red, with the red, love. And I
Yeah,
thought,
I
all
love
right,
her. She
all right, Gran, just tell me that you just hate my hair.
she loves
Um,
Jamie, doesn't she,
she
Grandma
loves Jamie. She
Mary?
does. Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, give my love to James. What
Forget
about
about
Shan?
me, Grandma Mary.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's she's a little Wonder Woman herself, and she's so involved still, even for her age,
Mm.
with the grandkids, and she's got a lot of grandkids, um, and great grandchildren now. So yeah, she's a bit of a formidable force. And then I'm not just saying this, like genuinely, there are my friends like
Yeah.
Shan, Annetta, Paula, my friend Zoe. Oh, you are just incredible, and you inspire me every day for different reasons as well. And I just think I'm so lucky and so grateful to be surrounded by women who are so empowering, who are so strong in what they do, who are just so resilient and so loving and caring with it as well. I think sometimes you can have sort of tenacious people that will screw people over to get to where they want to be,
Yeah.
and none of you are like that, but you're all very much like forces to be reckoned with. And I'm in awe of you all, and I love you so much, and I just love to
I'm
see
gonna
how much you
cry.
succeed. Because just the way that you go about things, I just think is it's
No,
yeah.
I have to agree. Like for me, obviously, like my family and stuff like that, you've got my mum, my auntie, my nan, they were the sort of people that brought me up, especially my auntie. Like, we're very similar in age. So she's only a couple of years older than me. So we sort of grew up as maybe more like siblings
Mm,
than auntie and niece. Um, but when I moved up north, I had to build like, I suppose, like my own family as well, like my own support network up here. And the friends that I've got that I just similar to you, Law, like the words escape me to describe you all as like people, but similar to Laura, like I don't want to repeat everything that she just said because I wouldn't be able to do as good a job.
no.
Um, but it's just that whole journey of taking people with you. Like if you're doing well, you're not doing well on your own. Everybody that you've got with you is going on that same journey, and it's like no one's left behind. Everybody's I always think, when people say, "Oh, that's my best friend, that's my best friend." I like we've just got I've got friendships with so many different people for so many different like aspects of it, but all of them are just so gorgeous in terms of like who they are as human beings. Like even at my birthday where I had like a big group of you together, and you'd have no doubt that everybody in that room will get
You'll get on,
on,
yeah.
will fit together like jigsaw pieces, because when you find people that have such an impact on your life and you have such an impact on theirs, you just like fit together just seamlessly. And I
Yeah.
just think
You
like,
bring out the best in each other as well, and that's
yeah,
true friendship, isn't it?
yeah,
When you
there's
can be your
no
true self, and
negatives.
then as a result of that, the best version of you comes out. And sometimes even like you mentioned before, Shan, I've been going through a bit of a difficult time with work recently, and my friend, three of my friends, Tanya, Catherine, and Robin. Oh my gosh, they're all like powerhouses in terms of work and stuff, and the fire that they had in them
Yeah,
to help me through it, and to
yeah.
and you, of course, Shan. I mean, there's no point even talking about you because you're part of every step of the way of this. Like, I'd be here all day. But you know how much I love you. You definitely do, don't you? But yeah, it's just seeing people want to sort of stand up for you and to be at the forefront of difficult conversations when you
Yeah,
don't have that in you, I guess, as well, is the
yeah,
other thing. It's just sometimes I think your friends are so inspiring because actually they'll fight harder for you than you could for yourself. And I just think that
yeah.
is just like proper girl power.
But do you know what's lovely is when you're like that, but you have people around you that do it for you as well.
Yes,
Because I
agreed.
am like that. I will go to fucking like the depths for people. Like what did I do on fit? I was like, give me your phone. I'm going to write the email. And I did it for another friend last week because you just think, no, that's not right. And I've got a real thing about that anyway, like about like things being right and do. But when I tell you, those same women that I do that for would do the same for me in a drop of a hat. And
Oh
I
yeah.
know that I've got that.
I
And it
can't for
gives you
myself, but I
power.
would for you.
No, but it gives you power to know that you've got people behind you that have your back, just wanting the best for you in life. And no matter what decisions you make, they are by your side, holding your hand, saying, no, you've got this. And if you don't got it, I do.
Yeah,
And I'll
especially when you
carry
doubt
you.
yourself. Or if you're in a vulnerable position, or you're kind of like a little bit down and out, I suppose, you do need people to build you back up and to
Yeah.
strengthen your character again, because when you're knocked down, that's who you need to surround yourself with. And yeah, women are just incredible.
Yeah,
So
we love you
shout out
all.
to you all.
What a way to finish. You're all incredible.
Girl
We love
power.
you. But also, like, another shout to like some of the men in my life
Oh,
that
100%.
are
Yeah.
just do the same. I've got like a big group of men around me that do exactly the same. Like, I think about Dave, I think about Jamie, whoever it is, even some of Jamie's mates that are as close to me. And I know if I called them now and said, I'm stuck in Stockport,
Yeah,
can
they'd be
you come and
there.
get me? They'd come and get me, and they do the same. So yeah, just like, I've got, at the moment, I think it's a really difficult time for a number of different people. We spoke about it a little bit not last week, the week before. Laura's going away, by the way. So if you didn't see her last week and you see some other faces, that's because she's going
Sorry,
on her
guys.
hollybobs. But actually, like, I think it's really important to have men and other allies that are talking about women in the same way that we do, and really bigging that up, because there is a lot of people that aren't doing that right now, and it can be quite a scary place as a woman
Definitely.
in this world, as well as some other areas. If you're part of LGBTQ plus, if you are black, if you are of any other sort of race, any form of diversity at the moment is just, it's really difficult time.
Yeah,
um
same.
so yeah, let's all just shout for each other, big each other up, because there's some people in the world that won't want to do that right now. So it's important that you've got those people around you that make you feel comfortable, make you feel strong, and make you feel confident.
It's like they say, if you don't do anything, you stand for nothing. So
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. God, Laura for Prime
So
Minister. Right, love yous all loads, and we hope that you're kind to yourself this Mother's Day if it's a difficult time for you, and just to have some appreciation for yourself as well as all the other women in your life.
yeah,
But
thinking
we
of you
will
all.
definitely see you all soon. Give us a follow, give us a like, and we love you lots. See
Take
ya.
care. Bye.